This video is made for adult collectors because I have an Xbox controller that's the same color as this Optimus.
I know I titled this Optimus Prime could explode at any moment, and it could, but I really hope it doesn't, because I want to actually keep this. I like the way that it looks a lot, so hopefully it survives the video.
So, clear plastic, for those who don't know, is not as sturdy as solid plastic, something to do with the pigmentation inside, but I'll get into that later. This stuff is known to crack under load, and Hasbro decided to willingly make 4 figures almost entirely out of this stuff. I say willingly as a joke, because of course they did, they made this thing, but also because of this line from a video where they showed them off, it made me laugh.
The joke internally is that we call this immersion therapy, because we know that some people are a little hesitant on clear plastic. Well, here are figures that are 90% clear plastic.
He does also hit you with a, man, do they look good, and yeah, I can agree with that, this looks fantastic, but I'm also scared to touch it. So it isn't the first time I've had a completely clear Prime, this one too. Before I go any further though, this video was created in collaboration with Transformers Eternal War. Eternal War is a brand new strategy mobile game that allows you to build your own 5-robot squad, build bases, and have epic battles. There are boss battles that feature unique mechanics and a story written by Simon Furman, who, for those who don't know, is like a franchise veteran, having written for Transformers throughout Marvel, Dreamwave, IDW. In this all-new story, players will uncover the rise of the Chaos Legion, a powerful new threat that could throw the entire universe into, well, chaos, and bring the balance of the universe to collapse. Faced with unimaginable odds, the Autobots and Decepticons must decide to either continue their conflict or fight side by side against a common threat to protect their homes and what they all fight for. Can you imagine Bumblebee and Starscream fighting side by side? The game itself evolves around the character collection experience, which I'm sure we're all familiar with as we collect plastic robots to sit on a shelf, focused on tactical squad and base building, and also focusing on strategy and working as a team. And whether you're online or offline, your squad will continue to fight, gather resources, and advance the war effort. With an ever-expanding roster of iconic Transformers characters, a lot of them based off their toys, mind you. So you could like physically build your squad if you wanted to out of products you own. Ah, dang it, I only have one. There will be a link in the description if you want to check out the game. Once you click on it, press the activate button on the same device and you'll be given pre-registration awards like Jazz and Bumblebee, as well as a The Transformers, The Movie 40th Anniversary Avatar frame and nailplate. Thank you very much, Eternal War, for collaborating with this. Now back to the actual toy. Okay, we're gonna go on Planet Nerd for a sec, so please hold, but plastics. Shout out to my buddy Mikey, who works with plastics, who answered all my questions for me, but plastic is very complicated. He mentions that while the processes he told me were more than likely industry standard, he's mostly speaking for the company that he works for. But they use 2 different types of plastic materials, resin and color. Resin is plastic such as wow, that's a long word. Polypropylene, there we go, nylon, palm, etc. So like the joints on a transformer. Color is, well, pellet color or liquid color. That's pretty self-explanatory. They receive their resin without color, so it's clear. But he also mentioned once injecting it with color, it adds a sense of rigidity and a greater ability to withstand stress. And then if you add things such as mold release to the mix to allow the plastics to not stick to the mold when removed, that can change the physical properties of the material even further. There's also thermoplastics, which we believe is what Hasbro's using. That's a material that softens and becomes moldable when heated and hardens again when cooled. It's good for safety too, because it means that if the toy is lit on fire, it melts before actually catching fire. But if you heat the plastic too much, it can burn and destroys the chemical bonds, making the plastic weaker, and then it cracks. Color isn't necessarily the only thing that keeps the plastic from exploding in my hands. It also depends on how good the base chemical makeup is of the material itself, but essentially all that yapping is just to say that color does make the material a lot stronger, but it being clear also doesn't inherently make it weaker. Though the Last Night one feels like it's gonna disintegrate if I breathe on it wrong, because the Last Night plastic just straight up sucks. Oh, and this was purchased at Comic Alley Toys of all places. Here's the box, not sponsored. No, I'm not throwing the box at a clear plastic toy. Yeah, so Comic Alley only gets their stock as trade-in. People bring in stuff that they don't want anymore and sell it or trade it to them, and that's the only way they get product. They don't order new stuff when it comes out like this, and yet someone traded this in before its release date, box and all. But he looks like if Optimus Prime was in Tron, with those nice blue lines all throughout that I wish were painted in glow-in-the-dark paint. They might activate under a blacklight, but I don't have one, so I can't check. Someone please let me know in the comments. I think this color scheme on this mold works so well. It makes me want to get the Megatron, even though I don't want Siege Megatron again.
Oh, why do that when we can do this mold for the 30th time?
They outlined a lot of the sculpted detail along this thing, which helps accentuate it all, but I do wish the vents on the legs got the same treatment. The gun is entirely clear, and that presents a problem because the handle is really tight in the hands. I feel like it might shear it off if I don't slowly take it out. Speaking of this being the Siege mold, I know a lot of people didn't like the kibble on the back of the arms and on the back itself, and the hips not going forward that far. But I kind of like the kibble. It reminds me a lot of Classics Optimus, which is a design I adore, so it works for me. I don't really like the hips though. They don't go forward a full 90, and that is a little bit annoying. They did fix that on the Earthrise version because this reuses the lower legs, but they made the legs look really tall and lanky, which is why I like the Siege mold visually more. He also comes with his shield axe thing that folds out so he can hold it. Thankfully, the handle is made out of nylon, so it doesn't actually snap. Head sculpt is nice, and this deco really brings it to life, but part of me wishes that the mouth plate had some of that blue lining to it, like down the center and the edges of the mask. Articulation is pretty good, as this was when the modern standard sort of started. Head is on a ball joint, so you can go all the way around. You get a little bit of up and down, but not a lot of tilt. The shoulders can rotate a full 360. They can also go in and out, but this side is a wee bit loose, and on clear plastic, that kind of scares me. Bicep rotation, slightly over 90 degrees at the elbow. Wrist rotation, waist joint, those hips that go forward, not all the way, but then they go back and in and out. Upper thigh rotation, that's a little tight. Above the knee rotation, over 90 degrees of bend at the knee, and ankle tilts. So overall, besides the hip articulation, he's pretty slamming. Get it? Because his companion piece is a slammer redeco that I don't have and probably won't get. Having a figure who's entirely clear plastic being torn apart, that scares me. Speaking of terrifying me, the transformation. This is a bit panel heavy in the torso, and some of the stuff just doesn't like to get out of its own way, and this is where the title comes into play. This Optimus Prime could explode at any moment, because once I start transforming this, if I'm not careful, I could just rip something off.
Can't really do much about the noise. If you hear the noise in the background, the backyard's getting cleaned. We have like this little interlock section, and the interlock's being cleaned out, so there's noise. Nothing I can do about it. There's people in my backyard. All right, let's hope this doesn't explode. If it does explode, that'll be funny, but I want to keep this. So if you've ever seen Siege Prime, you know how this works, but gotta be a little bit more careful with this one. So we're gonna start by folding out these side bits here, which I don't like how securely they tab into here. I might sand those down, to be honest. Then we're just gonna take the arms, bring them out. We're gonna take the top section, bring that out, rotate it, unfold this out. Now these pieces are extremely thin. They didn't change the thickness of anything, and on the Siege one, I've seen some people break these off, so like a version made out of clear does not inspire me with confidence. Once you get that all done, we're going to then do the legs. So you want to take this section out, fold this piece around, do that on both sides. Then you want to rotate at the knee swivel, fold the feet in. Now they don't sit flat on this copy. I think there's some excess like sprue, like I can see excess sprue right there that's blocking it. I just haven't trimmed it. Is that a stress mark? Oh no, that's just a pin. I thought that was a stress mark for a section. That's just the end of the pin. Whew. Bring these sections out to the side and then fold these bits around like that. Before you peg the legs together, fold these panels out to get the trailer hitch exposed. Again, these are quite thin, so you gotta be careful. Peg the legs together, and then the feet are gonna do that. So peg the feet together. We're not gonna peg these in just yet. Then you wanna take this entire torso assembly, and it locks into this crotch, which is entirely clear. So, I don't like that. I don't like that. I usually end up squeezing it right here and slowly pulling it out so it doesn't make a huge click noise and break this peg off, which, as you can see, they did cut it at a slope, so it's not gonna snap. Hopefully it doesn't snap, but it does, it's not great. Then you wanna take the wheels and you wanna shimmy them out of their little cavities here and accordion them down. Thankfully, a lot of these like really tight hinges are like nylon, so they're not gonna snap. I can't get this wheel out. There it goes. Then we just fold it down to the bottom. Then we're gonna bring the arms back down, open up the chest section. Ooh, this is a little tight. Fold the head in and just leave that open. We're going to then take this piece and fold it forward. It's going to go around the windows. I don't like that sound. And then just get that squeezed into there. We're gonna reopen these panels back up, so that way this will sit flat. You wanna take the arms and you wanna bring them around and into the side, all G1 Prime like. Get them pegged into place. Do that on this side as well. Get this pegged into place. Oh God, something's getting in the way. Oh, his fist is rotated. Okay, once that's in place, we're gonna take this piece at the side here and fold it up. Again, really, really thin panel, and it's entirely clear, so be careful with that. Then bring this piece down, it'll peg into the front. You slot these in, you slot the windshield together, squeeze this just down and together itself. Then you bring these bits in, and they're going to peg into the side of the thighs and into these little sections right here. So again, bring that in, tab that into place, fold the wheels up. We did it. It didn't break. Yay, we're in truck mode. We did it. It's all these thin siege panels I just don't really like the feel of, especially in this material, because they could just...
Yay, we survived. I bet a lot of people were waiting for another Bumblebee situation to happen, but this time the figure is actually designed well, so I don't really have that much of a worry. No, this one is not being transformed for a size comparison. I love all the deco around this truck, but with these bits specifically on the side of the truck by the front wheels, that looks so cool. They picked out the grille, and that's what I wanted the front of the legs to be. Like, it looks like a truck from Tron, more fitting Tron 82 and less than like Legacy and that. God, I hated Tron Ares. The wheels don't really like to lock in on this figure, just like my last couple versions of this mold I've owned. The weapons do just ungracefully store around the figure, but that's nothing new. For being completely clear, it does a pretty good job at staying together, and pin wheels, so it rolls very nice. At the end of the day, it is an entirely clear plastic figure, and over time, it most likely just won't last. It'll have build quality issues, but it does look pretty damn cool. Should you get one? I mean, if you like it, sure, but I know this isn't going to be for everyone. Honestly, I'll probably get the Megatron once it hits Walmart rollback, because I'm 90% sure it's just going to hit rollback. But that's been my look at this clear Energon Optimus Prime. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.